With tibia lengthening, the leg alignment changes toward knock knees. Then with shortening, does it go toward bow-leggedness?
Let's say this is the inside and this is the outside of the tibia. If you take a look at the calf, the inside has less muscle, but the outside has more. When lengthening, the outer muscles pull, but there's not much resistance on the inside. Since the outside keeps resisting, force is applied this way, it gets pulled this way. You see, it becomes knock-kneed, right? So that's why this phenomenon occurs. Now, in the case of limb shortening, if it's like this, we're just reducing it like this. If I want to change the bone shape while shortening, that's possible in some cases, but generally, when shortening, the shape doesn't change. It just gets shorter.
What do you think about AI medical services?
The quality seems really good. Most of the products that are already out there are mainly about imaging. For example, in Korea, there are several companies like this. AI learns from images and interprets them well. So for CT or MRI and those kind of image interpretation, it's achieving great results like detecting early stage cancer. Also, it is great at explaining diseases in text form. In terms of diagnostics, there are a lot of achievements now, but as for surgery, I'm not sure how far it will go. Even now, surgery is already using a lot of robots. In orthopedics, the most representative area for robotic surgery is joint replacements. For joint replacements, the robotic arm can cut the bone with very high precision. Technically speaking, robots could probably do most surgeries, but that raises another question. Should we really develop robotic technology for every single type of surgery? When it comes to joint replacements, it's fine to let the robot do the cutting, but for osteotomy, which is the kind of surgery I do, I think it's still a long way off, because it's not just about brute force. Since I'm not an expert on AI, I'll leave it at that.
Is it true that correcting posture in the lower back or spine can make you 1 to 2 centimeters taller?
I think that's very possible, even with just posture correction. I think that for people with bad posture who are hunched over, simply straightening up can definitely have the effect of making them 1 to 2 centimeters taller.
Femur precise versus tibia long. In terms of pain during rehabilitation, which is more painful?
We need to make a distinction. Because thigh muscles are much stronger, it has more resistance. In that sense, thigh rehabilitation can be harder. But with calves, since they're being stretched, while pins are inserted and the skin is pulled, the pain during lengthening is generally more significant. Generally speaking, when it comes to lengthening pain, you don't necessarily have to separate it from rehabilitation pain. What matters most is the pain you feel during the actual lengthening process. Whether it's from muscle resistance or the pain caused by the pins, all of it adds up to the pain experienced during lengthening. So if you look at it from that overall perspective, on average, patients tend to report that the pain during the LON lengthening is much severe.
If you lengthen your arms, does athletic ability decrease, like with leg lengthening?
There aren't any conclusive studies on this yet. The reason there's no research is that arm function isn't as critical as leg function when it comes to athletic ability. Legs are the central part of the body for running and all kinds of movement, but arms aren't. So there's no research on athletic ability of the arms. But in my opinion, it shouldn't be a big issue. If you exercise, arm mobility should recover well.
Could Precise be developed specifically for cosmetic lengthening of the arm?
Actually, I've had the design for an arm lengthening Precise in my head for a long time. I've also talked about developing it with the Precise company every time we meet. Originally, I was invited by the US headquarters 2 years ago to meet with their development team, but I couldn't go because of my schedule. Then, because of supply issues, it's now a question of whether we can use Precise at all. If we can't use it, there's no point in sharing my ideas. If there's another development team, I'd share it with them, with a company whose products we are able to actually use. But anyways, right now, development hasn't started. There's a lot of demand for arm lengthening, so even if it's not precise, I'm looking for a stable and safe method. But to do that, I need a device. So I've been continuously searching for companies that can handle it. However, even though we have a high demand, the overall volume is quite small when you look at the entire orthopedic medical industry. Maybe that's why the companies don't find it that appealing.
Is it harder for an athlete to return after height surgery than after ACL or ankle injury?
Limb lengthening surgery is, at its core, a bone surgery. As the bone is lengthened, the surrounding muscles need to stretch and adapt to the new length as well. Let's compare three things. The best recovery is from bone surgery, because once the bone heals and fuses, that's it. As I've mentioned before, with bone surgery, it is a matter of how well the bone grows and fuses, because once it does, it regains its original strength. So with bone surgeries, when the bone is all fused, it can lead to complete recovery. With ligament surgery, like ACL, if it's done well, almost full recovery is possible. But when it comes to ligaments in the ankle or other parts of the knee, severe damage has a chance of not being able to achieve full recovery. Severe ligament injuries are worse than bone injuries. As for height surgery, it doesn't touch the ligaments, just the bones. As the bones are lengthened, the surrounding muscles are stretched along with them. The bone itself typically isn't the problem. As with any bone surgery, the key is how well the new bone forms. And once it does, it becomes just like your original bone, and there is no problem for life. The real challenge is with the muscles, whether they recover enough for you to move and exercise like before. That's harder than bone healing. Some patients regain full function and athletic ability, while others may find they don't return to the exact same level. So it's best to think of it as a spectrum and understand that outcomes can vary.